What if the most dangerous idea in Russia right now isn't a weapon, a section, or a NATO tank? What if it's a question that every ordinary Russian and even Vladimir Putin himself is terrified to ask? Do I need actually more? Today we talk about the philosophical antidote that no military strength just discusses, the one shift that could make war not just unnecessary but genuinely undesirable. This is the Stoic Antidote. 1. The paradox of empire. Russia is already the largest country on earth. Let that sink in for the moment. One country, 11 time zones. The world's largest forest, the deepest lake, enough natural resources to make every Russian citizen wealthy for generations. And yet the empire always needs more. More territory, more control, more fear from neighbors for historical glory. This is not strange. This is addiction. And like every addiction, it destroys the person living it while convincing them they cannot survive without it. Putin doesn't invade Ukraine because Russia needs more Ukrainian land. Putin invades because an empire that stops expanding starts asking questions about himself, and those questions are fatal to a dictatorship. 2. The Spartan Shift. The ancient Spartans were one of the most powerful civilizations in history, not because they had the most, but because they needed the least. They ate simply, trained hard, built discipline from the inside out. They found pride not in accumulation, but in mastery of self. Now imagine applying the mindset to Russia, not the Russia of oligarchs with yachts and palaces, not the Russia of imperial nostalgia and endless conquest, but the Russia that looks at its own immense land and its forests, its rivers, its seasons, its cultures, and says, we already have everything we need. Let's build something worthy of it. Russian citizen who finds identity in hard work, in action, in simplicity, has not psychological need for war, because war is something you start when you feel empty, when you need an external enemy to feel a war. A man who masters himself needs not enemy. 3. The sport metaphor. Think about what happens on a football field, a wrestling mat, a basketball court. A Russian father wishes his son score a goal. A grandma put the cheers from the sideline. Strangers become friends in 90 minutes over a shared passion. Children laugh, adults forget their problems. For a moment, politics doesn't exist. This is one of the most underestimated forces in human psychology. Shared joy creates shared humanity. Sport doesn't care about NATO. Sport doesn't care about territorial borders. Sport connects a Russian child with a Ukrainian child, a Georgian child, a Finnish child through something older and more honest than any ideology. When ordinary Russians are encouraged to find meaning in community, in sport, in the simple joy of watching their children compete and grow, the dictator's promise of glory through conquest becomes not just necessary, it becomes boring. Who wants to send their son to die in a field when he just scored the winning goal on Saturday? 4. The prisoner's wisdom. There is a painful truth that every person who serves time in person understands it deeply, and that free people almost never do. You don't truly understand freedom until you lose it. A man who walks out of prison after years of confusion doesn't take a simple breath of fresh air from granted. He noticed things about ignored, the color of the sky, the color of birds, the ability to choose where to walk. He has been given something that cannot be taught in school or explained in a speech. He has been given perspective. Russia, its shoulders, its citizens, its leaders, is living inside a prison right now. Not a prison of walls and bars, but a prison of propaganda, fear, isolation, and endless war. And like every prisoner, they won't fully understand what they've lost until they experience something different. Ukraine, free, creative, resilient, human, is that something different. The Russian soldier who was treated with dignity in a Ukrainian facility, the Russian mother who received truth when her own government gave her silence, the Russian deserter who built a new life. These people have tasted freedom, real freedom, and like every person who truly lost something purchased, they will never stop wanted it back. 5. The message to Putin, and here finally is the message that reaches even Vladimir Putin, not through section, not through military pressure, but through the oldest philosophical truth in human history. The man who needs nothing is the most powerful man in the room. Putin has spent his entire career accumulating power, territory, fear, loyalty, and yet he is one of the most visibly insecure leaders on the world stage. Surrounded by yes men, afraid of open election, obsessed with legacy. This is not the psychology of a man who has enough. This is the psychology of a man who is terrified that he is nothing without more. The Stoic Antidote for Putin, for Russia, for any empire is simple. Stop. Look at what you have. Master yourself before you try to master others. Russia has enough land to feed the world, enough culture to inspire generation, enough nature to heal any soul willing to sit quietly within it. It doesn't need Ukraine, it needs yourself. Also, the most revolutionary act in Russia right now is not a protest. It's a Russian father who takes his son fishing on a Sunday instead of watching war propaganda. It's a Russian soldier who puts down his weapon and asks what I am actually fighting for. It's a Russian citizen who looks at their own West, beautiful country, and thinks we already have anything. This is the Stoic rebellion, and it cannot be arrested, bombed, or sectionated. See you in the next one.